Hi, today's October 4th. I want to make an announcement, well, per se. So, I got word today that over where we live, we have 160 refugees coming tomorrow from Afghanistan. Now, I do not personally have a problem with anybody. I have a problem with the fact that we have so much damage in our country that we can't even help ourselves. And we have this government, Biden, coming in and taking over as if he is this God sent. He's destroying our country, But we also know that Daniel 11:20 specifically talks about who he is. He's the raiser of taxes, and he will be in for a short period of time. So I'm also going to say that they are placing 80 of them 6 miles away from me. These people come from large cities. Now, what I'm going to say is going to sound obscure, and people's going to be like, well, where's your proof? Well, here's the thing. To keep things disclosed, and so nothing gets started, and so I don't get shut down, I cannot disclose this, where this is coming from. You just have to pray for discernment and trust that my sources are correct. Okay, so we have or at least 30 volcanoes going off, and we know the La Palma, right? And it's already reached the Atlantic Ocean. We've got cargo ships. We've already seen a ton of stores that's really low on food, which we already know it's coming. The famine, the third horse rider, the black horse, whatever. We've got the economy collapsing. They're talking about the dollar value not being of value November, December. Gold and silver plummeted, and overnight, within 24 hours, our Dow dropped over 40% or 4%. I'm going to have all this stuff attached to all of this. And then, so we've got, Florida. Let's pretend here is the center of America. Here's where I would live, in Indiana. Okay, you've got Florida, right? New York, Texas. We're just going to say Texas. And then Oregon, California. Okay, so we got La Palma, they're talking about, that's going to wipe out the East Coast, right? We have Yellowstone, that's had tons of earthquakes, and it's rumbling, which we know, therefore, is the Madrid. Let's go straight to the Carolinas. All right, well, not a big deal, but this is getting wiped off, right? Because, woe to Babylon. Babylon has fallen. The major cities is what they're going to be targeted. Now, I've said this time and time again, that they are going to trap the people where no one can leave and no one can come in. Well, they're bringing as many refugees that they can in, which, in my humble opinion, I do not know for fact, but in my humble opinion and what the Bible says, that they are going to be the one to invade us from the inside out. It's an inside job. Okay. And I wouldn't put nothing past the government. So now we've got all these refugees that have been placed within this border. You got this side that's getting ready to be wiped out, and they're saying, which yes, Russia now has the nuclear power to the nukes that can reach from Russia into America. They now have those. So that coming, okay, we got the cargo ships, we got the war, we've got the mass water intake, we've got the ships that shut down. This whole side's closed up. Down here, closed up. You got the Canadian border, all that closed up. So what do you get? The rooster is getting ready to crow. All right, my whole point is America, is getting ready to be completely and utterly surrounded, where we will not be able to leave. Now, this Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram shut down. I believe is, since it's a precursor, China had a lot to do with that, and then we have Russia, and going to war with Taiwan, China, Taiwan, all that stuff. So that's a big deal. Now, another thing I want to talk about. So the next thing I want to talk about is I'm going to attach some. My husband and I was riding in the car today, and we was listening to 90.7. I've never heard of this radio station, and I'm going to attach the videos to go with this about Anthony Fauci, what he spoke, and also what what's her name, Nancy Pelosi even said. We're not. They said that you guys needed to get your Christmas early. Turkeys, hard to find, and when you do, they're about $100. We got definite famine in the land coming. We've not been in drought anymore. We've had a lot of rain, but we was in drought most of this summer. They're talking about the water drying up and not being able to get connections to water. They're getting ready to target each and every area of our life supplies, and the reason they're doing that is to get people to comply to their system. As you know, and as I know, that without that, pretty soon you're not going to be able to buy, sell, or trade. They're also talking about November releasing the original plague that they are now saying is here, but it's not ramped up. If you've noticed, a lot of people have changed a lot. People are getting spiritually attacked, and Stephen Banoon and other sources, which, I've said this many times, that they're going to say that aliens took us at the timing of the rapture. Well, Trump has been talking to the fallen angels, and they're talking about releasing that type of information next month. Now, you put two and two together, and I know everybody is a Trump supporter or a Biden supporter or whatever supporter. I'm a Jesus Christ Bible thumping supporter. I believe what God says, and I don't vote. It's all rigged. So I know who the players are. I'm not God, but by reading his word and by putting the people in place of these events at the timing that they have occurred, it makes sense to put this together. He's running for 2024 presidency. He said he's going to be back in prior to. So we know that if that happens, what happens from there. And him talking with the fallen angels or the aliens, as they're saying. There's an alien invasion, but that's the thing. They're not aliens. They're fallen angels. And in Revelations 12, it says that the dragon, cast down by his tail a third of the stars. And those are those with him that, Michael and them fought in heaven and war broke out. Now, what I thought was pretty interesting was the other night I saw something tapping on my window. It was pitch black out, and I was like, what the heck? And I thought it was my husband playing around because he wasn't home. He was at work, and I thought he was just tapping on the window trying to scare me. So I kept looking. I didn't see anything. I'm like, wait a minute. My phone would have gave me a notification he was home. So I walk over to the sliding screen door, and I heard it again, tap, 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 tap. And I was like, what the heck? I opened the door, and I kid you not, the massivest, biggest dragonfly I've ever seen flew at me. I shut it, and I was like, whoa. I took pictures, videos, which will be attached. And immediately I sent it to friends of mine, Melissa, Jamie, Carly, and then Ron and them. And I was sitting there, and they sent me an article or a video which was talking about the dragon casting down, or something about volcano. It's going to be attached to this, but it just coincided with everything that's going on. My eyes are so awake, but there's so many people who are sleeping. There's not a whole lot that we can even tell people, and us we are so weary, we are trying to not go back to the old Adam that lives inside us. Okay? We are bursting for that type of attention. We're bursting for that non-rejection. But unfortunately, we keep getting rejection, and having rejection and ignored causes us to be in this state of mind. But we have to remember, we are in our flesh. Okay? Our desires to live in this world is fleshly. Okay? We were not designed to be earthly. We were designed to be heavenly, and that's why we are chosen. That's why we are different. That's why we are weary, because we know this is not our home. And we also know that the times that we are living in are so crucial. Anytime things are about to ramp up like you've never seen before, this is just a precursor. You think it's bad now? Wait until the rapture happens. That's all I'm going to say. But attached to this video, I'm going to have everything that should explain everything. So if it wasn't for God changing me and giving me a revelation this morning, I don't think I could have even had this type of mindset to even be this calm and talk to you. I've been longing for a friendship, a church, a fellowship, marriage. I've been longing for man's approval, for man to satisfy me. And that's why I got off all my medicines. You know, I was in this state of mind of depression that this medicine's going to help, but all it did is damage me. And then I'm now on supplements in place of that, you know, by relying on God. And that's how he made us. God created us to need him, you know, not him need us. So when I look at how I was needing this, it brings me into this state of mind of, well, you know, I just want somebody to understand me. I want somebody to listen. I want somebody who knows exactly what I'm going through. I want that church to be that approval. I want my parents to love me the way I want them to. I want, you know, everyone to be in my corner when I give them gifts or when I'm showering them with my love, but I don't get that in return. That is our flesh wanting that desire, because when we live on earth, they are feelings that we get. And those feelings are our desires, and our wants become earthly. You see, because we are human. But when you become created new, born again, 1 Corinthians 15, 1-4, which is the gospel, death, burial, resurrection, and we have the Holy Spirit living inside us, we are completely made new. We are completely Christ in our bodies, okay? Because we are the church. But we are in flesh, so therefore we're still on earth, because we have to be transformed in order to go to heaven. So when we get to heaven, we'll get our new bodies. But since we're still on earth, we don't have that. So when we are longing so much for, things, we have to realize that's our earthly desires. And us being born again, we now have a knowing, and that knowing is that longing for home. Our knowing knows we are not earthly, that these are earthly desires we were longing for, that the true intentions of our heart are purely and solely can only be brought to the surface by God. Man cannot help you. Man cannot help you sort through it. God and God alone. So when you realize that it is heavenly because of a knowing, that is when your mindset becomes changed. So I hope this video inspired somebody, and know that our time is very, very short. God bless.
Talking positively about the COVID jab, that's fine, but there's some factual statistical proof behind it. But we also need to cover these stories that don't look so good on the jab. Why? Because the public deserves to know the truth. The public deserves to know what's going on. Speaking about knowing what's going on, came across this story out of Louisiana. Get this, their largest hospital system, Ochsner Health, in the state of Louisiana, they are beginning to fine employees with unvaccinated spouses $200 a month. If this isn't the employees, which that's one thing, and I don't like that either, but this is spouses, all right? So let's just say theoretically, my wife works at this hospital in Louisiana, and I don't have the jab. Let's just say she does. This is all theoretical. Let's just say she does. She's got the jab. She's compliant. And she's probably going to have to get the booster and the booster and the booster too, just to keep up. But I don't, for whatever reason. I don't even work at this place. I just am married to someone who does. Well, this Louisiana hospital is now starting to fine employees who have unvaccinated spouses $200 a month. This is absolutely unbelievable. And I read the other day, and this is a good point. We're in the middle of a pandemic, and if you read the headlines, you would think we're in the middle of the worst pandemic in humanity, even though we're not. But here we are fining and firing healthcare workers. I mean, what kind of pandemic is this where we could just fire healthcare workers? Absolute disaster. And the folks running these hospitals, man, they have lost their minds. And the folks running the executive branch under the Biden administration, they have lost their minds too.
Our eyes will stand by the flash of a neon light that split the night and touch the sound of silence.